But then I see this guy literally index fingers to both areolas and starts rubbing his own nipples. And I'm like, in my drunk state of mind, I'm like, this is normal. This is cool.
this is I like it. I think it's quirky.
This is fucking normal. You're just drunk, Freesia, and this is normal. But then still, we were going, and he was still rubbing his own nipples and like getting off on it. And I'm like, okay, Freesia, this is not normal. This is fucking weird. But maybe it's just because he's drunk. So I didn't finish, but I let him finish, and then we went to sleep. Next morning, we wake up. He wants to go for the second round morning sex type of situation. And I'm like,
in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hola, everybody. How are you doing today? This is the Genius Brain Podcast. For those of you who are first-time listeners, I apologize. This podcast is literally about nonsense. And we have a very interesting guest today. We have my young friend, Freesia Park.
Let's get it.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say
Let's
that.
Fucking go.
You get the fuck out of here.
Yo, I'm honestly a true fan of this podcast, and I texted you this before, but when I first moved into my Chelsea studio in Manhattan, I was pretty freaking lonely because I no longer had a roommate. So I was like, what should I turn on? And I started turning on your podcast, and it made me feel like I had someone to eat with. I had my friend with me.
That is the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life, you big loser.
Yo, I
Just
swear
kidding.
Everybody listens to podcasts when they're either just walking or eating because they just need some conversation and stimulus.
I call you a loser, but that's literally what I do.
Yeah.
when I'm walking or if I'm just out and need to grab something to eat, I always listen to a podcast.
Hell yeah.
It's just nice to listen to somebody just have a conversation around you. It's really fun. Mm-hmm. So I brought her on today because for all my young listeners out there, or maybe some of you out there who are single, right? I know you guys are having a lot of like relationship issues, and I am always counseling this little bitch all the fucking time. You have no idea.
Oh.
Right when I fly into New York, beer, I'm like, all right, lay it on me.
Lay it on me. Who's the new guy?
This girl is always looking. I don't even know the type of guy that you like at this point. You just
I don't know either, but that's the thing. I'm figuring it out.
Do you like dating?
I don't like casual dating, and I'm learning that. The more I honestly dread first dates. It's the most awkward thing in the world to me.
Oh, really? First dates are exciting.
No, because half the time the guys that I go on dates with, like we were talking about earlier today, have no social IQ whatsoever.
But when you go on these first dates, right? So what are your avenues of dating right now? It's online stuff first, and then you meet them in person, or are you meeting these people within a circle and then you start dating them?
Always in the past, it's been through mutual friends. That's
a good thing.
Yeah, I was pretty late to the online dating game.
Yeah.
Also, with online dating, I only had Hinge. I currently still have Hinge, but like I don't really care for it too much right now.
What's wrong with Hinge?
Nothing's wrong with it. It's just I can't find myself connecting with the guys that I talk to. So it never really makes it to the date phase. My most recent ex was from Hinge, but I haven't found anyone I clicked with since then.
Her ex-boyfriend situation is by far the most hilarious thing, is because she met somebody who was just as emotionally unavailable as her.
Just as emotionally stunted.
It's just like, why won't you show affection? Why would you show affection?
Well, that's not how the conversation went because we had no conversation.
Oh my! Well, how did you guys communicate then?
That was the biggest issue. It's just we didn't have communication skills with each other. I'm sure, because I mean, in the past when I've dated like my exes, aside from him, they kind of brought that side out of me by being more open and luring these questions out of me.
But so they were like the yin to your yang.
Right.
Yeah.
So my most recent ex, because he was just like me in this like poor communication aspect, it was just like nothing came out from each other. I'm sure he was used to having like girlfriends in the past who opened him up a little bit more, but since we were so similar in that sort of aspect, it was just not a good combination.
Well, how can a guy, so if they're dating you, right? So how can a guy open you up then? What are the steps that a guy does to get you to open up and be a little more vulnerable?
I tend to follow lead in relationships.
Oh, okay.
So if I feel like he's a little bit more vulnerable and willing to open up and ask me questions, then I will follow suit. It's like, okay, because you're so open and honest, I will follow suit and just be open and honest about my personal experiences and whatnot. But this guy, honestly was kind of like a closed book, didn't ask me too many questions. So we just established a very shaky foundation to begin with. We weren't toxic or volatile either. It's just a lot of non-communication.
What do you, okay, when you say like non-communication, it would be you feeling a certain way. Let's say you were upset, right? Let's say you're clearly upset about something that he did. Would you communicate that to him? Do you mean that type of non-communication?
Yeah, I wouldn't communicate it.
What the fuck?
He wouldn't communicate it either.
So you guys are just pissed living together?
Yeah.
What the fuck? How do you do that?
I don't know. I don't know how I did that for a year. It was just a lot of things swept under the rug. I still till this day have to assume a lot of things about like maybe things that he thought because we just weren't open about that stuff. And I don't know. I really truly don't know how I lasted a year in that. But I always in the back of my mind, and he definitely knew this too, because we had a talk one time when it was like a breaking point. He was like, we don't talk. We don't communicate. So he was definitely aware of it too. So we were like, moving forward, let's work on this. But I think it's just so foreign to both of us that it just
nobody
happening.
knew how to start the communication.
Yeah, no one knew how to break that precedent that was already set.
Communicating is hard too, especially if you don't know how to communicate, and then on top of that, the things that you want to communicate is about fighting. It's hard, right? Because it's awkward. Yeah. It's almost like you feel that if you don't talk about it because you do care about each other, the problem will just go away. And it's never, ever like that.
Yeah, it just blows up eventually.
You might have a laugh here and there that makes you forget about that in the moment, or you might have a good moment. You guys go out to eat. You eat this great meal. You're having a good time. But the next time he does something fucked up, that compounds with the last thing that you did. Right. And then it's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah. So it was very unhealthy in that particular aspect. It again, like I said, it wasn't toxic. It wasn't volatile. We didn't fight. But everything was just kind of buried. Did
you feel like you would get more and more distant from him then?
Yeah, for sure. At a certain point, I was like, why isn't he just... I was just very emotionally invested too.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I was just like, why isn't this ending already? We both know that we have issues and the foundation isn't strong. Why are we still sticking around each other?
When did you start? Because you guys were together for at least a year.
Yeah.
So when did you start feeling that then?
I always felt it since the beginning.
Bitch.
I know. I'm so... the fuck? But I was literally... I put him on a pedestal, so I just wanted to be with him regardless of the issues that I knew. I just decided to ignore the issues, which was... That's why it was unhealthy for me.
That's crazy.
So when we broke up, I was kind of like, finally.
So it felt good.
Yeah.
That's a good breakup.
I was relieved. Because I knew it was bound to happen, but I didn't have the strength or the courage to break it off myself.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I was the opposite. So when I found something I really didn't like, it's like, hey, this isn't working out, and then we kind of, it's always been better that way though. And I'm not saying I was always like that. There's definitely, when I look back at it, there are a few moments where I didn't handle it correctly, simply because it stems from a selfish place too sometimes, when some people say like, oh, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. But a lot of the times, especially in my case, it wasn't the fact that I didn't want to hurt her feelings. It's because I didn't want to be in an awkward situation. So it really is more of a selfish thing.
Right. So I was actually just telling one of my girlfriends the other day, I was like, I personally suck at breaking up with people because I don't want to hurt them. It makes me feel bad, but that's the most selfish thing you could do to the other person because you're just wasting that person's time.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was also grateful for my most recent ex, I was just like, in my mind, thank you for breaking it off this soon, because we had so many things planned. We had like a reservation booked at a hotel and everything. So he could have honestly just waited until we did that shit. But, when push came to shove, he was like, okay, this is the time to end it, regardless of whatever we have booked. That shit doesn't matter. I don't want to waste her time. And he actually told me that too when we were breaking up. It's like, I mean, I could have waited. Like, I don't want to end it either, but I just know long term, like, I just don't think this is going to go far. So I would be doing you an injustice if I were to prolong that dating period.
Yeah.
So I was honestly really grateful because time is so precious to me. So I was like, I didn't.
When you guys kind of split or you break up, how long is your grieving period before you start dating again? Is it pretty quick?
No. Well, it depends on how much I like the guy.
Yeah.
The ex before him, I was over him within the relationship. I was just like, I'm over this guy.
That fucking sucks for a guy when you guys kind of come to a conclusion. You go, you know what? We're not good for each other. Let's part our ways. And the next day you're on a date. He's like, yo, what the fuck, man?
But with the ex before my most recent, I jumped into a new relationship literally a month after because I was already emotionally done for months ahead.
So you like being in relationships. That's something that's
the thing. I'm always single for at least a year between relationships. The last 2 years was just kind of an anomaly for me. But now I've been single for over a year. It's already been over a year.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I still consider myself in the healing process. Like, I'm completely over him. No feelings whatsoever. And I just wish nothing but the best. And I am so grateful for that relationship because it taught me so much.
Yeah.
But I still consider myself to be in the healing process because I'm relearning how to be independent, and I'm relearning, what makes me happy. And I have time for myself to pursue my hobbies and passions.
I think that's what everybody goes through when they kind of had this committed relation. From what I've been finding out is that they kind of lost a little bit of their independence because instead of a me thing, it was an us thing.
Yeah.
So whatever move that you were making before, it was in consideration of the other person that was a part of you.
Right.
So when you make these decisions to go out to eat, meet friends, or whatever that it is, or whether it's, having somebody check up on you to see if you're okay, having somebody next to you when you sleep, there's this weird adjustment period where you're just like, there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck? This is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because I thought about this too recently, and I had this guy who was quote unquote a dating coach, and he, what he told me was, why don't you imagine, the woman that you're with and she's gone, what would you do the next day? I was like, besides cry? I'm like, I don't know. I really wouldn't know what I would be like in a dating situation.
Yeah.
I know I'm a very social person, but being social with the intent of trying to date somebody is different, because if I'm just social and just talking to a woman just to talk to her, there's no sweat off my back. There's no skin, whatever. I'm okay. And I'll just be casual, whatever. There's no fear of rejection. There's no fear of me fucking up with what I'm going to say, because there's no intent to have this woman come home with me or for us to develop a further relationship. So if she comes up and she doesn't find me interesting, I'm like, all right. And then I move on.
Yeah.
There's something very comforting, especially I think I'm not sure for women, but for a guy, being able to talk to the opposite sex and not have any intentions with it, because you don't really care about the outcome. It literally doesn't fucking matter. If she finds you attractive, she thinks you're dumb, dweeby, whatever, a dork, who the fuck cares? I have a woman at home. I'm just here just talking, trying to make friends. So if I go back in that dating situation, I don't even know how I would deal with it. I probably would cry.
You would cry in the beginning, but then you would, after that period is over, like maybe let's say 6 months later down the line after the breakup, then...
If Mariel left me, I wouldn't be dating for I guarantee you at least a year. Like
probably,
not even dating.
Probably. That makes sense.
Like not even dating, not any of that shit.
Yeah.
We've invested 6 years of our lives together.
Yeah.
So now I just have to be reprogrammed. It's like, okay,
you have to literally train yourself to learn who you are and how you're like alone, because you haven't felt that for years now.
I know.
So you would go through a major adjustment period. Like, I mean, obviously I've never been in a relationship like yours as long as you.
A healthy one.
Facts. Oh my fucking God. Yeah. I wonder what that's like.
It's great. It's weird. I do know what it's like to be in a bad relationship. So there is this odd thing of, I still feel like I have choices, right? So not in terms of I feel like I have a choice to find somebody else, but when I'm with somebody that I have a healthy relationship in and we communicate well, it's like, I don't feel confined. I feel obligated to her, but I don't feel confined at the same time. I feel like I can speak my mind and I can be who I am unapologetically. And that's the part where it was like, okay, this girl might be the one for me, because she has a quality that I didn't realize that I really appreciated. And what the quality is her allowing me to be me, right? Because I know a lot of people who get into these relationships that they feel like they have to be a certain somebody when they are with this girl. And then when they leave, they can be who they really are, right? With Mariel, because I'm just who I am in front of her and without. So it allows me to kind of just stay this one person. And I remember when I was younger, I hated living having a duplicative personality, right? I'm not sure if that's a fucking word. I'm just trying to be smart right now. I'm trying to be Stephen A. Smith. Duplicative. But I felt like around these homies, I had to be this guy.
Yeah.
Right. And then around these girls, I had to be this type of guy. Then if I was over here at church, I had to be church boy.
Right.
And so I felt like I just had multiple personalities and I had to manage it so many times. And as I got older, I just stopped caring about that shit.
Right. I think that's a younger person thing.
For sure.
Yeah. Because I feel that too, though. I'm not saying I'm old at all. I'm still really young. But the older I get, I notice that more. Like the less fucks I give about what face I'm showing to group A, B, and C.
Yeah. She had such a good quality, which I enjoyed, was when she walked outside, she wasn't saying, oh, I don't have my makeup on. That's the first, she's honestly the first girl that I've been with that wasn't like that. And it was refreshing for me because
This podcast is brought to you by JUNBI Matcha. Not all matcha is curated and created the same, and JUNBI Matcha stands out above the rest. If your matcha isn't a beautiful shade of green and doesn't have an earthy, smooth taste, then you are definitely not having JUNBI. Matcha is not supposed to be bitter. The caffeine boosts and health benefits you get from it are the best, no caffeine jitters, and loaded with a bunch of antioxidants. To get 10% off your first order of tins and packets, go to junbishop.com and enter code GeniusBrain. Once again, that's 10% off your first order of tins and packets. Go to junbishop.com and enter code GeniusBrain.
You know, I know a lot of guys say this, they go, oh, I don't care whether you have makeup on or not. I genuinely don't give a fuck. I really don't care. And the reason why is because I have to reflect on myself as a guy. If I was so particular about how a woman looks when she presents herself outside, I should have that same standard for myself. And I have zero standards. You know, it's really unfair.
Yes, I know.
You know, zero standards for myself. So if I feel okay wearing flip flops and socks and, you know, whatever, a baggy t-shirt and some fucking short shorts, and I go outside, I can't look at the woman that I'm with and say, hey, I really prefer you to have makeup on and do this other stuff. So like, sure. I think for her, because she's not so self-conscious about those type of things, I also appreciated that, because I feel, and once again, this is just my opinion about the women that I'm with, is that if I always wanted to be with a girl that didn't care about those things so much, just because I know that when it comes to physical looks and everything else, that stuff leaves with you with time. You can't escape time and you can't escape aging. People try it with Botox, puffing up their fucking lips, all that other bullshit, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. You're going to die and you're going to go into the dirt. And as you age, I think there's this grace and beauty that comes with aging that sometimes women don't get to feel, because number one, it's a societal thing. And it's also because guys also have this thing of saying this bullshit like, oh, I like my girl without makeup on. But it's at the same time, are you saying that just to make her feel good? Or are you just saying that because that's just the cute thing to say? And for me, I really don't care.
Yeah.
You know?
I like that about Marielle. Even just earlier today, I was like doing my makeup and she was like, oh, where's that from? And it was a pretty well-known brand. And she's like, oh, what is this? And I'm like, dang. She's so comfortable in her skin, and I love that. Yeah,
she wears makeup obviously when she has to. Like the most makeup that she puts on general is like BB cream,
very minimal,
and then she'll do her eyebrows and then her eyes, and that's it. But obviously when we go to weddings, if we go out to dinner, then she'll do it. But then because she hasn't put it on in so long, it's like a relearning process. She goes, oh my god, I don't know how to fucking do this. So it always takes her way longer to do makeup than most girls, because by the way, if you've never tried doing makeup before, and you know when they started doing the do your boyfriend or girlfriend's makeup challenge, that's the first time I realized how hard it was.
It's fucking hard. It's an art.
It's painting.
That's why there are artists for it, and well-known artists for it, because it's literally an art form. As cheesy as that may sound to some guys, it's literally the face is a canvas and there's a painter.
It's hard. It's hard. It's legit painting, and
you have to tailor it to every face shape and feature.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
When I was trying to do, so Gina and I did it, and this is before Mary and I were together.
Yeah,
and I was, first of all, your boy didn't do a bad job. I'm telling you. After a while,
you got that feminine touch though.
I'm telling you. After a while,
bitch fingers.
Bitch fingers. Bitch, you see these right here? What the fuck are you talking about? Each one of my fingers are dicks. That's how big they are. What you talking about? But when I was doing her makeup, we were looking at it, and it was for a moment. I said, "This is almost too good that this video isn't funny." I was like, "Oh shit, boy, you pretty good at this."
Popping.
Then at the end, I started doing funny shit because it actually started looking decent. And Gina was like, "This isn't bad." I'm like, "I know, it's not bad at all." I was like, "Okay, girl." I started doing everything. She was nice.
Well, you're feminine as fuck.
I am, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Shit. But yeah, makeup is definitely hard. But also, the older I get, the more, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So I wear slightly less makeup too now.
It's such a liberating feeling to really not give a fuck. And I think that is hopefully what people will get to as they get older, because honestly, there's a few things that happen when you get older. You start to realize how precious and finite time is, right? And I always tell everybody this, is that the only thing guaranteed in life is death. So it's about what you do with that time. The more time you spend on worrying about how ugly you are, how insignificant you are, how insecure you are, that time is wasted figuring out how great you are. So when you kind of focus on those things, and that becomes a part, it literally becomes a part of your psyche. Because just like in repetition, when you become good at some things, when you are repetitious with bad habits, you become good at those bad habits. And so when I see people, when they wake up and they go, I ask, what's the first thing that you do in the morning? It's like, well, I got to make sure I look good because I don't want people to think about this. You're already telling yourself that you're not good enough for the world. Right. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't wear makeup. I think, yeah, makeup's dope. It's an art. You want to look good. You want to look dope. That's fine. But I feel like when you take that out of your step, even if a guy, if it's not him not shaving or not doing his hair, and you feel like a lesser of a human being because of it, I think that's where I have an issue with it.
Yeah. It's weird because I get a lot of questions from younger girls in my Instagram DMs about like, oh, Freesia, can you talk about insecurity on your like YouTube or whatever? Can you talk about how you deal with this and that about body image? And I'm kind of like, I don't know how to really answer that, because for me, it's just like, just stop thinking about it. Yeah. You know, like I don't like to, as soon as I find myself like dwelling on a certain body part, I kind of like kick myself and I'm like, dude, stop wasting time and energy thinking about this shit when you could be thinking about more productive things in life. Yeah. You know, you're wasting so much mental energy nitpicking at body parts that you can't even change. Yeah. So what's the point? Yeah. You're just wasting your own time and making yourself unhappy. And I'm sort of like that tough lover, but I feel like a lot of girls that reach out to me are looking for like that soft, you know, like sensitive, oh, it's okay, like everybody is like different. But I'm just like, just stop thinking about it.
Yeah. And also too, like your problems aren't,
it's so insignificant. You think that everybody cares about your fucking calf. No one fucking gives a shit.
Yeah, people just kind of move on from it. People will have thoughts. And I think we're always trying to avoid negative comments. You can never avoid negative comments. People will never think you're perfect. People will never always think nice things about you. Yeah. It's to the point now where I want people to say bad things. I'm not going to say I don't give a fuck, because obviously words tend to hurt. Like they fuck with your psyche a little bit, right? So but we also have this control in our lives where we can figure out how much it affects us, right? If it's just a comment that's and you know, me too, I have fun with it sometimes. Like when I respond back and I'm roasting somebody back, people think I'm brewing in my thoughts. It's just, I was taking a shit and I saw this comment and I'm like, man, what should I say to this person? Yeah. Right. And I'm like, pop, write it out. I'm like, yeah, that's good. And I write that shit and I'm good. Yeah. But I'm not standing at home huffing and puffing, walking in circles about how mad I am. Right. It's just a part of my comedy. It's me roasting somebody back. Yeah. So, you know, it's difficult, man. Well, even the generation beneath you, it's just, I feel bad sometimes because of how much people are allowed to express their opinions about your life in so many different facets. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, not Vine anymore, freaking TikTok, right?
Yeah, I always say I'm so glad that I didn't grow up with social media. I grew up in that awkward in between where social media came for me in high school. Yeah. So I don't think I would be the same person I am today if I grew up from elementary through high school with fucking TikTok, Instagram comments, likes, thinking about all these numbers. I think I would be like
Instagram was supposed to take away those likes, and they still haven't fucking done it.
Some people don't see it.
Oh really?
I know some people. They're
so it's happening slowly.
Yeah.
I think they need to get rid of that stuff because it allows you to appreciate something based on if you like it or not.
Man, but fuck Instagram. They're saying they're doing it for like mental health, but really they're doing it for advertising.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like I just don't like that like number because it kind of forces you to think, oh, hey, if this is cool, then I should like this. Yeah. You know, but if you like something, you like it. If you don't, you don't. It's whatever, you know? And when you're kind of, like, for example, I think like the way beauty is defined always changes in every generation, right? But right now, what I'm seeing more specifically in LA, in this fucking city, if there's every fucking girl looks like a prototype of the same botched fucking lip job or something. Their lips are gigantic. Yeah. It's weird. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You don't even look human anymore. Yeah. But because it looks good, quote unquote, on camera, they'll do it for the camera. But when they walk out in public, I'm like, dog, you look like you fucking mouth wrestled a beehive. Yeah. What is going on?
Yeah. Honestly, I noticed that about LA girls because I'm from New York, right? Yeah. So New York girls are a little bit more raw and they rock the no makeup look, free the nipple kind of, and just like very natural. Yeah. But then when I come to LA, I'm like, damn, you're done the fuck up. But you look great. And I mean, honestly, no shade to LA girls because I love my LA homegirls out here too. But they really, it's sort of like Korea in a way where they just have one standard of beauty and everybody tries to look like each other, which I totally sympathize with and I get it. But at the same time, it's just like, come on, man.
It's hard because when I see that stuff, because if I, you know, I'm at the age now where I might have a kid. So if I have a kid and she happens to be a daughter, like, how do I tell this young girl, hey, you know, you got to find what makes you beautiful and do all this other stuff. I
asked my roommate this. I was like, what if you had a daughter and she was like, Dad, I have a flat chest. I really, 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 really want a boob job. Like, she's getting made fun of. She's bullied. She literally has nothing. She's like, I just want like A, B, whatever it is, just something there. What would you do? Would you pay for
I'd
a
be
boob
like,
job?
listen, I tell you that you're perfectly fine the way that you are.
So as a daughter, I don't give a fuck what my dad thinks about my body.
Okay, but this is assuming, first of all, your father relationship is different from most people. All right, I know your background.
No, but still, I feel like I speak for most girls. They don't care about like how beautiful. But
you're saying you have to realize how you ask the question. You ask the question as if the girl is coming to her father for advice. So she does give a fuck about what I'm saying. If she didn't give a fuck, she wouldn't ask.
She's not asking about your opinion. She's asking you if you would be willing to pay for it.
I ain't paying for shit for that type of stuff. Bitch, you get to you're an adult and play for yourself. I don't give a fuck what you do after that. Yeah. That's what I would say. I'm like, listen.
So you don't care if she does it. It's just you pay for it. Listen,
it's not that I don't care. It's just that's your body. It's your life. This is the same advice my mom gave me, and I said this on another podcast. Let's say I'm a parent, I would tell my kid the same thing. After I die, you live with your own choices. Yeah. What you do with your body, if you're happy with it, whatever, as long as you're a good person, you're making good choices. I have an opinion about what I think, you should do and what I think is mentally sound. However, Dad's going to die one day. You got to live with your own choices. Yeah. I'm not going to be around to tell you, and I'm not going to be around to advise you on what you do with your body. I can only hope as a parent that I did a good enough job to let you know that you are perfectly beautiful the way that you are. That's it. Yeah. But afterwards, you have your own money. You want to get a boob job because you still feel like you're less of a woman and less of a person. For me as a father, it's going to make me feel like I failed. However, you got to do what you got to do.
That's funny. My roommate said the same exact thing. It's like if my daughter gets a boob job, I feel like I failed as a father.
Yeah, well, it's not even failed as a father. It's like I failed in like
to teach her
about her own beauty, right?
Yeah,
and that's something that I'm gonna have to deal with. But it's not something that's gonna kill me on the inside.
Right.
But at the same time, of course, like we don't want our children to have to feel like they have to modify something that God or whatever person in the universe or genetics gave them, right?
I feel like that's such a male mentality because my mom's like, girl, do you want a boob job? I'll pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I'm not a girl.
Yeah.
So if my daughter came up to me and asked me for that at a young age, I'd be like, hell no, I'm not paying for it. You can pay for yourself. Yeah. That's your body. You do what you want. Your body, your choice, your money, not mine.
I would stress so hard if I had a daughter.
I'm like, it's okay. Like, listen, like, dude, my friend Gina has a boob job. My friend Gio has a boob job. Yeah. They all got boob jobs.
I know so many people with boob jobs.
A shit ton of fucking Nina has a boob job. You know, all these bitches got
boob jobs. What's up, Nina?
Oh, God. And I don't know. Maybe like boob jobs to me aren't as a big deal because they're under a shirt. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like because it's boobs to me is definitively something that feels like a birthright to a girl. You know what I'm saying? Like when I become a woman, I should have tits.
It's a symbol of womanliness.
Yeah, it's like Daddy would give you his tits if he could. You know what I'm saying? It would suck the fat out of these and just pump it right into yours. But because boobs, and this is, I guess if I think about it now, it's boobs to me for a woman is like, this is my rite of passage as a woman and I never got these. So what the fuck?
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like me, I don't know, not being able to get my dick hard or something or some shit.
Yeah.
So it's a little different because it's a sexual organ.
I said to my roommate also, I was like, if getting like a dick job was so easy, just as easy as a boob implant, because for anyone that doesn't know or is not familiar, a boob job is literally a same day procedure. Like you can go home the same day.
Shit fucking hurts though.
But
no.
if it was just as easy for guys, I feel like so many guys would get like a dick job.
Probably,
quote, unquote.
you know, so like, because once again, I said it's a sexual organ and it feels like a rite of passage for a woman. I think psychologically it's a little different.
Yeah.
Ass job is different. Ass, you could do squats and you can make it a little firm and a little bigger, and that's fine. If you want an ass job, I think that's ridiculous, right? Because it's not a sexual organ.
Yeah.
It's a fad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So big ass wasn't even big when I was younger. People would get made fun of for fat asses.
Yeah.
And I was the one that liked fat asses.
Yeah.
Like, why do you like fat asses?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that weird? It's so yuck.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah.
Me likes the booty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And those things are fads. Like I said, because this is like a rite of passage for a woman, I feel a little different about it, but I don't want to pay for it though. It's like, you could go ahead and do that yourself.
It's a primal thing too. From an evolutionary perspective, having huge tits is like a primally like beautiful thing.
I'll go for a flat-chested girl any day, as long as that ass is nice and right.
Yo, how do we even get on boobs right now?
I have no idea.
I probably brought it up.
Yeah, you probably did, you dumb bitch. But yeah, I don't think I have a problem with that. I think it's more along the lines of just, you know, somebody valuing themselves.
Yeah.
And I also get to that not everybody has that outlook that I do. Not everybody is as open, as free as I am. Like I walk in, I don't give a fuck. Like I've gone into business meetings, I've gone into casting, I've gone into whatever, flip-flops and socks and a shirt. Like even till this day. So when I finished the film, I got signed to an agency, right? I want to see if I could act. It wasn't really my thing. I still want to act. I just hate going into these stupid auditions that I don't give a fuck about. But I remember when I was introduced to a lot of these casting directors, and I came in, and I didn't know this, but when you have a general meeting with the casting director, most people come in dressed to the nines. They got their fucking fade right. They're making sure that they got the right story. They're doing everything. And when I came in, flip-flops and socks, sometimes like with this like tank top and a shirt, and I'm coming in, I'm like, hey,
as you always dress?
As I always dress. And I came in, and then one of the casting directors told me, she goes, how refreshing. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, it's just very refreshing to see somebody who just comes here and then wants to be themselves. I was like, you told me to come casually. She goes, but this is really casual. She goes, well, we mean casually. We mean like comfortable. She goes, you look like you just rolled out of bed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. She goes, no, it's not a problem. She goes, just most of the times when people come into these general meetings, they try to dress to impress. And I'm like, oh, I'm just here to ask you questions because I don't know about this crazy acting process. So I just wanted to ask you what it's like, what your job is like. What are your criteria for finding great talent? She goes, nobody has asked me this before. She goes, usually they try to tell me their story. I was like, well, you don't need to know my story. I was like, I just want to know what you do so I can come here and be a better actor or figure things out.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think that was a good edge that I had when I was acting, because every time I went into an audition, almost every time I got a call back.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that I was trying to do on purpose. I think it's just a weird thing of mine to not want to worry about impressing everybody because it stresses me out. It literally takes my spirit away. For me to walk out and wonder what somebody thinks about me makes me die on the inside.
Yeah.
It's a waste of my fucking time.
It's a waste of energy. I think that's why I fuck with you too, because you're just so unapologetically yourself. I give no fucks. You take me as I am or don't take me at all, which I like, because I'm not as open about that as you are, but that internally is who I am. So I fuck with that and I relate to that so hard because I'm kind of like a black and white thinker. I'm just like, it's this or that. Yeah. Take it or leave it. That sort of mentality. So seeing you doing it like out loud, I'm just like, that's why I fuck with you.
it's a lot easier, you know? And
This podcast is brought to you by Betterhelp. Is there something interfering with your happiness, or maybe you realize that your mental health just needs a boost, or it's something you haven't really focused on in your life? See, this year, especially since we've been cooped up with limited social interactions, we really need to check in on our mental health. I will always say this, but just to say it again, your mental well-being is as important as your physical well-being. For those of you who don't know, Betterhelp is great because they can match you with your own professional licensed therapist. You can schedule your sessions via phone, communicate and message online, do video calls, and you can even change your counselors if needed. If you're at home and you want to try online counseling, give this a try, please. I love it and you can too. If you want to give this a try, Genius Brain listeners, I got the hookup. To get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp, just type in betterhelp.com/genius to get that offer today. Once again, that's BetterHelp.com/genius.
It's also easier on the other person
because it's so exhausting to impress people all the fucking time.
Yeah, and for that other person too, I'm also making it easier for you too, because you don't have to figure out if you're somebody who's concerned whether somebody likes you or not. Cool. I fucking hate you. I hate your guts. So now that you know this, may God be with you.
Yeah.
Just move on from me.
Yeah,
you don't have to. And you could be okay with it. People are not obligated to like you. People are not obligated. You don't have an obligation to their time, their affection, none of that shit. None of those things are given in life. And it's okay.
Yeah.
And so there's also the concept of everybody, like I know people, man, and I actually might have this girl on this podcast, but she has the biggest issue with wanting everybody to like her. Right. And I see her, and I could see sometimes when she feels like somebody's not feeling her out or like not laughing at her jokes, because she's a really funny, goofy girl, I could see her get nervous, and I see her trying to throw more jokes at the wall to make sure to make them laugh. And sometimes I just want to tell her, it's like, yo, this person doesn't fuck with your type of humor. They don't think you're funny. It's okay. But it eats her up inside. It eats her up inside for somebody to think that she's either fake, she's not funny, or they don't like her for some odd reason, because in her mind, she's trying to justify it by saying, I haven't given them any reason not to like me. But what she doesn't realize is that sometimes people just don't fucking like you.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
I feel like it's coming from a place of like, she pours her identity, from what it sounds like to me, she's pouring her identity in being that funny one or being the likable one. So as soon as she gets a feeling, an inkling of like, oh, this person isn't aligned with like my image that I'm trying to portray, she goes in panic mode because it doesn't align with her identity. So I feel like that's dangerous because she's not being really true to herself. She's trying to build this fabricated thing of like, just, I need you to believe that I'm funny. I need you to believe that I'm likable. I need you to believe that I'm this great person. And if you don't think that way, then my identity is crushed. You know?
For sure. Because I see my younger self in like that too. Because when I first tried to when I was getting into stand-up comedy, I remember when I went to college, and at that time I was doing loose stand-up open mics or whatever that I could before. And at that point, it was only 2 years. And I just remember when I went to college, I was always trying to be the fucking funny guy. And it worked. That's how I made friends. People were like, yo, this guy's fucking funny. But really, I was just working like, honestly, stand-up comedy sets all the time to see if they thought it was funny. But there are moments too where I was so too much, and I had to dial it back.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was like, this joke isn't working. I'm like, scratch. But I was using these people as experiments almost. And it's almost like if they didn't find it funny, sometimes it would crush me because I'm like, oh, fuck, like this, I bet you this wouldn't work well in a set or whatever. But that I do relate to that, because sometimes when you put that pressure on yourself and to other people to find you funny all the time or be a certain type of thing, it kills you on the inside. You go home and you're like, fuck, maybe I'm not this person, maybe I'm not that. That's what I'm saying. Being young sometimes, dude, man, shit sucks, dude.
It does. Speaking of college, can you talk about how we met? Because I know a lot of my friends are always wondering, but I just like never really I'm just like,
she's a little fucking loser, man. So it was Syracuse. Was it? So I met her. So I mentioned on the podcast before where a lot of the interactions that I have with either people who bring me out to schools or even fans, it's very casual. I'm a very casual, normal fucking dude. Like I don't ask people to get me drinks, water. I ask for nothing. I ask for a bottle of water and a mic. That's it. It's very simple. And then let's go out to eat after, and then I'll go drink and stuff. When I met her, I remember her because this bitch has the silkiest hair I've ever seen.
I was just about to say, I remember the first thing you said to me. You were like, what's up, Silky?
Yeah. I was like, she had the silkiest fucking hair, and it was just glistening in the light. I was like, what's up, Silky? I was like, dang, your hair's silky as fuck. Because I like hair. Like, it's super nice and silky. But then, she was one of the people that was showing me around. We had a good time, drank up, whatever, whatnot. And so I came to either a neighboring college. It wasn't Syracuse. It was
Binghamton.
I went to Binghamton, and then she hit me up. She goes, oh, I'm going to be there or whatever. No. This is the first. Oh, you actually did? I didn't know you were there, right?
No, I didn't know you were there either.
Yeah. So I went to Binghamton, and this was a last minute show that I got booked and signed for. And it's been so fucking awkward. She comes up to me and she goes, hi, do you remember me? Oh, okay, bye. She runs away. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's because we clicked really well in Syracuse.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting to see you in Binghamton. I remember we were in the auditorium or whatever for the show, and I see you in the front row, and I'm like, oh shit, David's here and he's performing. So at the end of the show, I was like, should I say hi? Should I not say hi? Like, what should I do? Because I don't know if he remembers me. Like, so I literally was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go say hi. So then I run up, I literally squat down next to the seat that he's sitting on. I'm like, hi, do you remember me? He's like, he just looks at me like I'm the strangest fucking human being in the world. And then looking at that face, I was just like, okay, bye.
She didn't even let me respond. Yeah. I was like,
as soon as I was like, Mayday, Mayday. He thinks I'm fucking crazy. Okay, I'm gonna go. So I just fucking darted.
Oh, that shit was so fun. I was like, how awkward. And
I'm a very awkward, cringy person.
And I remembered her too. And I was going to say her name. I was like, oh, what's up, Freesia? She just goes, bye. And she jets the fuck out. I'm like, yo, man, like at least let me say her name or say hi or what's up.
Yeah. Yeah. But then we ended up seeing each other at the after party. And then we talked a little bit more there.
Yeah, and then we just hung out after that. Anytime I went to New York, I always hit her up. And then it's our friendship from here on out. I've seen her grow up into an adult, graduate, get a job. She's fucking nuts.
It's nuts. It's been a long time. 6 years? 5 years?
6 years, yeah.
However long you and Mariel have been dating.
It's about 6 years, yeah.
Damn.
6 fucking years, man. And look at you all growing up, going on dates and shit.
I'm struggling out here.
Dude, you gotta tell the story about that fucking dude that you hooked up with.
Oh, God.
This is one of the fucking... But she has the funniest dating stories. Like, I don't know how you meet these people, but it's fucking nuts. And I think it really does have to do with the online dating aspect because things kind of move fast.
Yeah.
And you don't know what these people are.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, I don't fuck with Hinge anymore. So I met this guy on Hinge. And I talked about this on one of my girlfriend's podcasts, but I'll tell it again because it's a funny ass story. And... okay, so I met this guy on Hinge. We talk, and I remember him because he liked me in the past, but I didn't like him back because I was like, I don't know how I feel about him. But the second time around, I was like, let me just give him a shot. Whatever. Let's stop being picky, Freesia. So I give him a shot. We go out for dinner. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, not bad, not great, but whatever. I'm down for the second date. Second date, he's like, do you want to come over to watch a movie? And I'm like, red flag. What does that mean?
Yeah.
You know, that means Netflix and chill, but I was kind of like cautious. Long story short, ended up going, but it was fine. It was cordial. We didn't touch even at all, not even an elbow. So I was like, oh, okay. I kind of fuck with him.
He's respectful.
He's respectful of my space. We're good. I feel safe now and comfortable. So I was like, okay. Third date, he hits me up. He's like, oh, it was like around New Year's time frame. Do you want to go grab drinks with my friends? We're going to do a little celebration, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, yeah, cool, I'm down. So we're out and about, get drunk. Obviously, that's when we start getting extra flirty, extra touchy. It's like, yeah, we're feeling each other so hard. And then, obviously, I go back to his place and we do the deed. We're both drunk as fuck. But then... I see this guy literally index fingers to both areolas and starts rubbing his own nipples. And I'm like, in my drunk state of mind, I'm like, this is normal. This is cool.
this is I like it. I think it's quirky.
This is fucking normal. You're just drunk, Freesia, and this is normal. But then still, we were going, and he was still rubbing his own nipples and like getting off on it. And I'm like, okay, Freesia, this is not normal. This is fucking weird. But maybe it's just because he's drunk. So I didn't finish, but I let him finish, and then we went to sleep. Next morning, we wake up. He wants to go for the second round morning sex type of situation. And I'm like...
maybe the nipple thing didn't happen.
Yeah, I was like, maybe it was just a drunk thing.
Yeah.
And let's see. This is the make or break moment. So we're doing it again in the morning. He's hitting it from the back. I literally was like, bitch, you better not be rubbing your nipples. I look back at it real quick and I'm like, oh God, he's doing doggy with his fingers to his nipples. I was like, bruh, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So after, we did that, I
if
still
he's fucking from the back and he's rubbing his fucking nipples, he's not gripping on you? What the fuck?
He's not. That's why I was like, he better not be rubbing his nipples.
He's not grabbing.
Because usually guys will grab you or touch you, but I was like, I don't feel hands right now. So I was like,
what the fuck is he doing with his hands right now?
Yeah, I was like, he better not be rubbing his nipples because we're sober now. I turn around, he's rubbing his damn nipples.
What the fuck is that? That's so weird.
In my mind, I was like, why the fuck are you busting this shit out the first time we're fucking? Like, I don't fucking understand.
Well, if he did that, let's say you guys were dating for about a month, right? You've been hooking up for a month, and then he starts doing, you'd probably be more like,
I'll be like, man, bitch, I'll rub your nipples for you. Come here, babe.
let me do it. What else do you like? It was just really just out of nowhere.
I was shook to the core.
He's gonna listen to this.
He probably won't.
I'm gonna make sure it gets to him.
If he does, I'm sorry.
And he goes, that's the reason why you stopped hitting me up was because of the nipple thing. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I literally phased him out. He would keep hitting me up during quarantine, and I just was like, sorry, can't.
That'd be so funny if he hits you up and the last sentence he writes, he goes, is it the nipple thing? Is it the fucking nipple thing? I can't help it.
I don't think so. But aside from that, I kind of didn't fuck with him because there were a lot of red flags to me throughout the 3 dates.
What are the red flags?
He wasn't communicative either. So I was like, oh, I can't repeat this situation again.
How is he not communicative?
Because usually first, second date, third date even, you start opening up more. You start like asking more questions that are deeper. First date, maybe not. But second, third date, I feel like that's a natural time to be like, oh, so like how was your upbringing or like this or that. And even if I would ask him these questions, he wouldn't reciprocate.
That's so boring. I mean, what do people talk about when they don't do that?
Excuse me.
What do you talk about?
I don't fucking know. I really don't. So to me, I was just like, all right, like this is kind of like my ex 2.0 right now, and I'm just not about it. I'm not trying to repeat history right now. So I was very, very cautious with him. And then the nipple thing just did it for me.
You're like, you know what? You can't communicate, and it's clear because you didn't tell me about the nipple thing. And now I know for a fact communication sucks.
Yep. 100%.
So when you let's say you're going out for a date, right? And then you see somebody on whatever app and they look cute. They have on the list some stuff that you might like about them. Mm-hmm. What are your absolute no's and what are your must-haves?
On a first date?
Just about a person in general. We'll go to the first date after. So in general, what's your absolute no's and what are your must-haves?
Absolute no is if you are super conceited and into yourself.
Give me an example.
If we're having conversation, it's all about, oh, I did this, I achieved this, I do this, and no question about me. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're a really cool guy, but I'm not gonna hit you up for a second date. I'm not gonna answer. You
know why guys do that shit though? It's like for them, they're trying to make themselves sound good, so they want to be a qualifier. Like, I am somebody who can provide. I'm somebody who can do this. And I think that that's what happens with a lot of these like dating advice guys. They go, you got to make sure that you show this woman that you have value in your life. And so they do that, but they don't know how to do it in a way where it's balanced, where the conversation becomes you just talking about yourself the whole time instead of showing value in a social way that's more like I can be emotional valuable to you or available in that kind of sense as well. So they do that because they want to show you that, oh, I'm somebody who has it together. But it comes off as you just been talking about yourself for the past fucking hour, guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of guys, like, I'll entertain it though. I'll be like,
of course you're not gonna be a bitch, or a dick.
Yeah, but one of the key things I look out for when a guy is getting to know me is how much he asks me about me. Just because I need there to be a balance. It's also kind of touching upon that social IQ aspect I was talking to you about earlier too. Anyone who knows how to carry a conversation knows the balance between like give and take.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like when a guy is just so self-absorbed in conversation, I'm like, he probably is doing this all the time. And like, I don't know, maybe I'm just not giving them enough of a chance, but.
No, I think because you're getting older now, you don't want to have to baby somebody through a conversation. That's what it is.
Yeah.
As you get older and you start to become more solidified in you as an individual and you know what you like, why should you have to baby somebody through that shit?
Yeah.
It's not saying that, as a guy, get your shit together before you talk to me. It's more like, I know what I want, and if it's not there, why do I always have to be the person that has to build this human being into a functioning person,
Yeah, I think I have a lot of alpha tendency. So second thing I really look for is like alpha qualities because I can't have beta.
But you sit here, bitch. You eat this.
So I'm weird and I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck it is that works for me and what I want. But when I'm in a relationship, I'm beta. But I'm still alpha as a human being in my own individuality, but I need someone in the relationship at least to be alpha. So as soon as I feel beta energy, I'm like, nope, you're out.
Oh, yeah. Like that dog with the tail between their legs. Like when they order, they go like, oh, what do you want to eat? So I go, what do you want to eat?
Yeah, I like guys that make a plan, decisions, done. It's like, we're going to go here and here, and you're going to like it. I'm like, okay.
Okay. And I'm going to punch you in the face.
I'm like, fuck.
Really? That's right. Tomorrow I'm kicking you in the pussy. I'm going to kick you in your fucking beta ass pussy, bitch. Oh my God, please make love to me now. Fuck me and rub your nipples.
No, but I like guys that are
That's why you didn't like the nipple rubbing. It was very beta of him.
Probably. And also, you know, one of my exes, not the most recent one, but some of my other exes, they were just too beta for me, so I lost attraction.
Oh.
So the guys that I've broken up with have always been beta.
That's weird because, like, for me, I don't think any girl that I've been with has ever said I'm beta, but I'm not somebody who makes plans. I just kind of like, whatever you want, let's just do it.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't like that. At least for first date. If we're in a relationship, fuck it. I don't care because let's just go with the flow. But in the initial courting stage, I want to be led.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, that's just a very specific thing that you want.
I realize that I'm pretty traditional. You know, like I want to be that person who's like breaking boundaries. It's 2020. Like, you know, guys and girls should pay equally. But I'm like,
yeah,
I kind of like to be taken care of. I like to be the girl. I like the standard traditional male and female role. So that's why I like the alpha energy in my partner.
I think that's perfectly fine. Everybody has their own preferences and tastes. Like recently, not too long ago, like my buddy Gina, she found out about herself. She goes, I'm just tired of me trying to be like, people are trying to define what a strong, definitive woman is. And I just want to be taken care of. Why can't I just say that? Why can't I just be in a relationship where I have a guy that takes care of all the bills or whatever, and I just want to be that hot woman that's fucking cooking at home and taking care of your needs? It's like, that's true. I mean, that's you taking control of your life and saying you figure out what you want. Why the fuck not? Because
there are guys that are 100% like, I want to be that guy that provides. Yeah. So it's just...
Shit, preference. Not me. David So like an equal. Progressive David So. Split that bill, bitch.
So like first date, for example, I will always genuinely be willing to pay. I will be willing to pay. But if they let me, I'm going to be like, no second date.
Why are you playing games, bitch?
No, it's not. It's not games. It's like, let me see what kind of person you are.
That's games. That's you testing somebody on a date.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But isn't games? I mean,
that's you testing somebody.
Isn't first date all testing?
You know what the funny thing is? I actually don't like that. I don't like it when somebody tests me like I'm their human subject. So my thing is like, you say what you like, and then you let me know.
But I'm not going to be like, pay for this.
Oh, for sure, no.
But I am.
But my thing is,
it's because I don't know your preference. I don't know if you're kind of 2020, very millennial, and want to split the bill, or I don't know if you're more traditional. It's like, I got to take care of it. I don't know. As first date, I don't know.
So I think it's so weird. That's all preference. Like for me,
so I'm okay with either or, but because I'm learning that you're more of a Dutch payer and like you like things more equal. Then I'm like,
when we first go out, we don't Dutch pay. I always pay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just courtesy to me. It's just a symbol. So I think
a lot of guys like the courtesy. For me, I'm just like, don't even offer.
So like even with like me offering to pay, it's not coming from a fake place because I am genuinely
for sure.
I'm genuinely willing to split it, but that's when I know like we're not aligned because I want someone who's willing, who wants to wants to, you know, take me out. But I also think it depends on who asks out who, because if I ask a guy out, then I'm gonna pay. But that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's really rare that I think I've only been asked out by a girl maybe twice.
Yeah.
Right, and it was just, I don't know if the word is refreshing. It was just interesting. It's like, I don't have to ask. How odd. But I would always pay though. I don't know if it's because it has nothing to do with male ego. It's just something that I was taught. So it's I have to do it. Yeah. You know, it's like,
traditionally,
I'm gonna do this. It's almost weird. But you know, when after we've been together for a while and we know each other's finances, I'm like, you make money, you fucking pay for something.
For this shit,
you know what I'm saying? This right here, this tortellini, that's on you, baby.
Yeah. Here's the thing: for dinner, it's like, since you asked me out, I'm expecting you to pay, but dessert's on me. Let's go for a second round. If I like you, let's go for a second round. It's on me because obviously it's not as much as dinner, but. It's like, because I like you and because you were willing to pay, I want to like give back a little bit.
That's dope.
Yeah. So second round is always on me, even drinks and stuff. There was one guy that I went out with we made it to 2 dates. He didn't. I actually paid for the second date. I was like, let me get it because I let him pay for the first date. I was like, let me get it. He didn't like that. He was drunk as fuck, but he was like, I'm a grown man. I could take care of this shit on my own.
Like, that's a weird response.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't make it to third date, because he also got fucking drugged. Like, I can handle my liquor. This guy could not handle his liquor.
He's socially awkward. You don't say it like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't get it. Oh God, they don't understand.
I mean, I gave him leeway because he was fucked up.
Still, even when I'm fucked up, I don't do that.
You know what I mean? Either way, I was like, okay, this guy has like an ego issue, so fuck this, whatever.
I really do believe it's true. When people get drunk, the
truth comes out.
The truth comes out, and also too, the type of person you are only becomes exemplified, right? So I've seen people who have a lot of rage issues. So I'll tell you this for an example. This is just coming to my mind. Went to a wedding not too long ago with a friend, and it was a friend's wedding. Went there super last minute. I actually showed up in just like jeans and a shirt because I flew in that day for his wedding. I wasn't gonna wear a suit. I told him like, yo, I'll be there for the reception. I'll be there. I'm in now. I'm going out tomorrow. Right? Really dope. And there's a lot of friends who I knew in high school and even college that they're nice guys. They're super nice guys. Didn't have a temper problem at all, right? But whatever that's inside them internally started coming out when they were drunk. And they know me. I used to have a very fucking short temper. And so, but I'm a lot nicer, especially when I'm drunk. I'm extremely nice because I always want to have a good time. Well, then I started to see like the real personalities of these people, because when they got drunk, and for me, I didn't drink that much at that wedding because I was going to drive, and I started to see who these people really were. And I don't know whether it's because some of these guys didn't get to do what they wanted in high school because they were really nice people, or even in college, but some of their asshole tendencies started coming out, and I got fucking mad. And a friend of mine who was there, he could tell, because we've been friends for like 6-7 years. He could tell when I'm getting really irritated. He's like, you're getting mad, aren't you? I was like, yeah, because these guys are saying some bullshit. So I'm just gonna give you a couple examples. There was 2 guys that were there, and they're like, I mean, honestly, both you motherfuckers are little bitches. You guys are, right? Like, I'm a little bitch too, but you guys are definitively bitches. You have never been in a fucking fight in your whole life, and they're sitting there mouthing off to people like, yo, fuck this shit. Like, first of all, this is what I mean by people who are socially awkward, right? It's not about what you're saying, it's about how you say it. So we were sitting at the table, and then we're talking about, I forgot, the conversation of food came up, and one of these dudes were like, yo, I want to get some Chick-fil-A. And this is what this fool says out of nowhere. He goes, fuck Chick-fil-A because they don't like gay people, fucking gay people hating bitches. And we're having a good time at this wedding.
What does that have to do with anything?
We're like, we just want a sandwich. You know what I mean? We're just saying we like this Chick-fil-A. He was like, nah, fuck that shit. And now he's acting all Mr. Tough Guy now that he's drunk. I'm like, oh, that's who you are, right? You're this little angry little short guy, and that you want to be Mr. Tough Guy now that you're drunk. So I'm sitting there really quiet, and I'm staring at him, right? Just staring at him. He's like, right there. He's like, fuck Chick-fil-A. I just didn't say it, and I kept looking at him. And then my friend really grabbed my arm, and he starts taking me for the. I was like, no, let him talk, because I'm getting fucking mad. Because I was having a good time, and I wasn't drunk yet. Because if I was drunk, I wouldn't even care. I'd just be like, whatever, fuck Chick-fil-A. Hey, I hate it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too. But I was getting super irritated. And then my other friend too, he was really drunk. And this is what I'm saying. This is where their true personality starts to come out. This other guy, super nice dude, he comes up, and then we started telling like old funny stories from back in the day. And we were telling embarrassing stories about each other. And I started mentioning this one. And the dude comes up to me, and he goes like, no, don't tell that fucking story or I'll fuck you up. He says this to me at the fucking table at the wedding. And I'm like, what'd you say to me? Right? He goes, I'm going to fuck you up. You said, and I thought he was joking at first. And I was like, oh, he's joking. He's, no, I'm getting fucking mad. You said, well, I'm going to fuck you up. And I just remember looking at him, and I go, bro, I was like, you have never hit somebody in your life. You tell me you're going to fuck me up one more time, I'm going to slap the fucking shit out of you. And we're at this wedding, and I kid you fucking not, he goes like, no, I don't like it when people do that shit. Like, I'm not no bitch. And I just fucking slapped him in the face. I was like, you gonna hit me? And I'm smiling, and we're all joking. Everybody's laughing, but I was irritated. I was like, you gonna hit me? You gonna hit me? Yeah. Right? Yeah. And we're all having a good time. Yeah. He was like, oh, that fucking hurt. I was like, don't say you're gonna slap somebody when you're gonna do that shit. I'm like, you guys are assholes. Like, you guys are fucking assholes. And their real personality came out when they were drinking, and I hate that. So when I see somebody like that, that's who he really is.
Like that guy we saw today.
Oh yeah, same shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, you guys are dicks. You have something that you're dealing with on the inside and is coming outside, right? And because I have rapport with them, obviously if it was a random person, most likely it would have broke out into a fight. Right. But I wasn't going to let him come up here and say he's going to fuck me up in front of everybody. And he's over here like grabbing my shirt, like my collar of my shirt like this. Yeah. I'm smiling at this point, and I'm like, yo, motherfucker, like, don't forget, I'll fuck you up, bro. Like, don't put your hands on me like that.
That's just sloppy drunk.
Yeah, and I don't like being around people like that. So when you tell me about this guy who's just like, no, I can handle my own shit. It's like, no, you little small dick energy, bro. Yeah. You're probably like
literally.
This. Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I'm still paying for it.
So I don't like that whole drunk excuse stuff, right? And afterwards too, you know, when the wedding was over or whatever, they messaged me and they were like, yo, my bad, man. I heard I got a little aggressive. And I was like, yeah, man, like you fucking grabbed me by the collar of my shirt. I was like, yeah, I'm sorry if I slapped you, but you fucking grabbed me. You know, I would have fucked you up. And he was like, yeah, thanks for not socking me, bro. I'm like, yeah, man, like don't do that shit. Like we're old friends, but it doesn't mean that you get to just grab me and do whatever.
Right.
I don't know what happened to him.
I have a little bit more sympathy. I understand where you're coming from, but I have sympathy too for drunk people because I love to drink. By the way, can you pour me another glass?
Yo, this bitch is literally drinking.
No, but I really, truthfully, it comes from genetics. I truly believe it. But I love to drink, and I have done stupid shit in the past too that was very out of character. And literally the next day, I would be like, why the fuck did I do that? I don't believe that it was truly my internal self coming out. I was just blackout drunk and stupid. So I sort of sympathize.
I mean, you know I drink too, but...
I know, you're more controlled though.
Yeah.
I get wild.
Listen, well, we definitely drink a lot, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't think that I would even give myself that type of sympathy, you know? Maybe I understand, like, I think it's the aggression part that bothers me. Because when people get blacked out drunk, and I think they're just happy people, they get blacked out drunk and they do happy people shit. Yeah. So it's just, if you know you're not in a good place, don't be drinking, because drinking only heightens that emotion that you're feeling at the moment. It's like a Korean thing too. They say don't drink when you're sad, because it only makes it worse.
After breakups, I don't drink.
It's the worst thing to do.
It's waterworks. I don't care. There was literally one time that I was out at a bar with my girlfriend and she was asking me about my breakup. I was totally cool as a cucumber. Dog walks in because my ex and my ex had a dog that I was very, very invested in. We had him as a puppy. So I was kind of like the caretaker part 2, and I just love dogs and I love animals, so I connected very heavily, and maybe I overinvested, I don't know, but for that relationship, dogs are strong association. So I was very cool talking about the relationship when my girlfriend was asking me, and then a dog comes into the bar and I just start bawling.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! It wasn't even like a big dog. It was like a fucking pug, and I'm like, the dog is here at the bar.
Oh my god, dude!
But it's true. Like when you drink, I guess your very, very deep internal emotions come out.
Yeah.
But I've also said some dumb shit when I was drunk and totally didn't mean it.
What did you say?
I can't even name it because there's been so many times.
Get your fucking life together.
I know.
Okay, so what we said there was, what are your must-haves?
Oh yeah.
And then what are your cannot-haves or must-nots?
Must-have in a relationship, right? I really want a guy that prioritizes his mental and physical health. That was never important to me until recently. The older I get, like, the more I'm like, oh, like, this is actually really important.
So you want a guy to be fit and active, and then...
You don't have to have a six-pack, but you just need to care about the health of your, like, body.
So, like, be active and, you know...
Yeah. Because that's something I recently picked up on a little over a year ago. I never gave a fuck about what I was eating, what I was doing, and how active I was. I just took everything for granted. But there was kind of like a switch that happened in me where I was like, wait, Freesia, you're the only one that's going to take care of like the internal shit that's going on in your body. Everything, your lifestyle right now is so fucking unhealthy. You eat whatever the fuck you want. You drink like a fucking Korean dad.
That's facts.
And this shit is gonna take a huge toll on your body in the future, and no one is gonna take care of it except for you. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
So you want that standard in yourself?
So now that's a core value in me, I want it to be a core value in my partner. So that was never something I looked out for, but now it is.
And what do you mean by like mental health?
I need you to be able to reflect on your mistakes, your past, and grow from it. And kind of not wallow in your self-pity. Yeah. And just be like mentally healthy. You always want to grow and strive to be better and learn from mistakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, let me ask you something. Because you like alpha qualities in men, are you okay with the guy crying? in front of you?
Depends on what the subject is. If it's... See, I guess this is a little touchy because I don't want to play God and be like judgmental about it, but like...
But this is just a preference.
Yeah. If it's like over some dumb shit...
What is dumb shit?
Like, I'm crying because like you didn't come during sex. I've had a guy cry because of that.
Get the fuck out of here. You're
I
fucking
kid you
lying to me.
fucking not. A guy cried and shed tears because I didn't finish during sex. And he thought it was like on him. And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now?
He cried?
He fucking shed 3 tears.
Why? What? Why?
I was just like, wait, what's wrong?
You didn't come!
At that moment, I was like, fuck. Like, I gotta get the fuck out of this shit.
It's like your pussy just dried the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Like, that type of shit, I'm like, what the fuck are you crying about?
What did you ever discuss it with them? Like the reason?
I asked him. I was like, "What's wrong?" I was just like, "I'm sorry. I don't do it every time."
I think that's a lot of girls don't do it every time.
It's really hard for me. To be honest, just to be frank, it's so fucking hard for me to come during sex.
You know what the interesting? So I've asked, you know, because I have a lot of girlfriends, right? You know this, but some of the girls that I've talked to, they said like, yeah, like it's not easy. Like if I have to come, usually I have to be the one to start it or something else that way. And that like penis and vaginal sex, it's damn near impossible. Oh, shit, and then or I have to use toys or it has to be in the right mood.
I have to use toys.
Yeah.
So during sex, like this same guy that cried bought me my first vibrator. It was like a tiny bullet vibrator.
Yeah.
But after I used it, I was like, oh shit, this is like a game changer.
This is the one that's going to do it.
Yeah. Because I've never had an orgasm through penetrative sex ever in my life. And I still don't know what that's like because some of my girlfriends are like, what? You're fucking missing out. But then I have a lot of girlfriends that are like, that's normal. I
have more the other way around where most girls don't. Like,
yeah.
Like the only time that they've like came from like penetration was like the stars aligned. You know what I mean? Like the fucking date was perfect. The day was right. They were feeling each other. And then for some reason it hit the right spot and they came. But most of the time they're the ones to either induce it or when they have sex, they don't really need to come and they'll do it on their own later on.
The only girls that I know that have genuinely came during penetrative sex is when they were on top. For some reason.
Yo, so that's so funny. So one girl that I was with, she would always come during sex, but the only position is if she's on top. And what she told me was because she's in control and she could hit the spots that she wants. So it's essentially her using a dildo, but it's you.
Yeah.
So whenever she was on top, she would come super fast.
Also, every vagina is obviously different. So like I think the placement of the clit on your body it plays a huge factor because on top, I'm like, it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. Because for her, it was kind of nuts where when we were hooking up, we couldn't, I didn't want her to be on top because she would come too fast. I'm like, hey, you're having too much fun. You can't come that fast because after she would come, she's she's exhausted because the electricity would happen. And I'm like, no,
The Exorcist.
And she goes, I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, well, we can't have you start on top then. We got to switch it up. But for her, it was, I mean, I guess that's a blessing for her, you know, but I know. Yeah. And I think, listen, I'm knocking on the dude for fucking crying, but I know there's a conversation that people have where guys feel like they need for the girl to come because it makes them feel like I'm a man. I can really fucking do it. But when you have conversations with women, and I always say this too for guys, you can't know about a woman from another dude because a dude is not a fucking woman.
Yeah.
You got to talk to either close homegirls or maybe some people who are sexologists because they will tell you the honest truth about this stuff.
Every vagina and every dick too is different. B, most of the girls are lying to you when they said they've come during sex or when they pretend. They're like, they don't want to hurt the guy's ego. That's the thing.
I have no ego. I'm just like,
if you create a very genuinely open and honest place, then the girl might be like, yeah, I never came.
Yeah. Even with the girl who used to come always on top, I thought in the back of my mind, like, you don't have to do this for me. Like, I don't need it. She was like, no, it's the thing. Like, if I'm on top, I've always came really fast.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it didn't do anything for me. It didn't make me feel like a fucking man.
Yeah.
It was just, you're using me, woman. You know, like, to switch positions up because you can't keep finishing before me instantly.
Yeah.
Like she was fast with it. I don't know. Maybe that's a blessing for her. But she was somebody who didn't like toys. She didn't like. Maybe that makes sense because for her, clitoral stimulation was too much. It would be extreme for her. So she didn't like it if we were fucking out play with her clit. She hated that shit. So for her, that probably makes sense.
Maybe she has low T.
Maybe, I don't know.
Her vagina has low tolerance.
Maybe her shit would just fucking fly off. I'm like, this was too fast for me.
Yeah. It's very individualized too. So it's case by case. I feel
it's so fucking funny that he cried.
He fucking cried. So,
was he a very emotional person?
Yeah, he was.
That's extreme emotional though. Like
I can't fuck. This is what I learned over time. I can't fuck with very, very emotional guys because it just doesn't match with me.
It doesn't turn you on. It's really what it is, right? And
it's more of that beta energy that I don't like.
Yeah, because I think there's a good balance for a lot of guys. I think when we say, and some people might think of this as, oh, this is, toxic, like men are allowed to cry.
Yeah.
It's like, no, men are allowed to cry too, but everything is due in balance, and people have preferences about what they want to see in somebody.
Yeah. I know I sound sexist as fuck, which is fine if you think that, but it's really just my personal preference and what works for me. Like it might not work for my girlfriends. My girlfriends kind of like the soft side of guys, and that's completely fine. It's literally just preference, like height. Like, sometimes people might prefer 6 foot and over. Some people are okay with like 5'5", which is fine. It's just
I can't believe a guy cried because you didn't come. Is this the first time you guys were having sex or
no? It was like after a couple times.
So you came the first few times and
no, I never did.
Then why the fuck is he crying?
Because he never made me do it.
Oh, so by the time
I can't do it.
Oh my
I know.
God! What the fuck? Well, did he ask you? Did he communicate when you say, "Hey"?
He tried really hard because he took it up because I told him I never ever came through sex ever. So he's like, "Oh, it's a challenge. It's fucking."
And then he cried like a fucking
child. And he
child.
tried really hard, but because he couldn't do it, he fucking cried like a little bitch.
I mean, that's weird. I mean, it's what you already told him. Then it's like, I don't cry from I don't cry. I don't
cry from penetrative sex.
Okay, I don't cry from if you hit it from the back and you rub your nipples, I cry. But that's fucking funny, dude. How odd! I've never heard of that before.
He's a very sensitive soul.
That's a bit. That's more like emotionally volatile.
Yeah.
That's like some shit that he has to deal with in his past. Maybe he did that when he was a kid, when he couldn't finish his projects. It frustrated him and it makes him cry.
I don't even know.
That's so odd.
He was never a serious thing, but it was it's not even an ex-boyfriend, but...
He goes, you said, yeah, I don't really come from penetration. He goes, oh, you don't, do you? Well, you've never had this dick before.
Yeah.
Tried once, tried twice, 3 times.
I was like, go ahead and try. With my monotone voice.
When you have sex... when you have sex, right? If you don't come, are you okay not finishing?
Yeah, because it's still an enjoyable experience to me.
Yeah.
I don't need to finish every time. And every guy, because they come every time, they're like, what? That sucks. But for me, and for many girls, it's more of the emotional connection and the act. It still feels good. I just don't climax. But it still feels good.
Yeah.
It's still like, for example, kissing. Kissing feels good. Doesn't make you come, but it feels good. It's like you're connecting.
You don't know these guys. I bet you that guy would come though when he fucking kisses you.
Oh, God.
He's like, oh shit.
But, for example, kissing too and hugging, skinship, that kind of stuff, it makes you feel good. Same with sex. It's a little bit more elevated than skinship, but
yeah,
you're still connecting. It still feels good.
There's just a lot of...
reach a maximum point.
And I feel like this is just me anyways. And mind you, like I haven't had crazy amount of sex partners. I haven't even hit the double digits. I think sex partners I maybe had 8 or 9, right? And so from that number or so, like when you hook up with somebody, like figuring out when you have a long-term relationship, I always call it like girls are like an old Toyota. Like you have to figure out what makes them run.
Yeah.
It's not just this push to start. It's, oh, you're different. Like what worked for the last girl won't work for this girl.
100%.
Yeah. So when guys talk about, it's like, oh, dude, I know exactly what women want. It's like, you don't know what every fucking woman wants. You have to ask questions sometimes, and you have to be comfortable enough where they'll be open enough to let you know what their stuff is. Because that's where the communication part always bothered me. And I had the biggest crash course was when I was, the serious relationship part only lasted about a month. But it was that girl I was telling you about that was a little crazy. For her, she was my crash course. And I told the story before because I remember she told me the line of men that she had before. I was like, I think my dick game's pretty good. And afterwards we hooked up and I was like, so how was it? She goes, it was all right. I was like, what? What do you mean it's all right? She goes, you just do weird things. Like, I don't really like it. I'm like, oh shit, this kind of hurts.
She was friends with benefits though, right?
We were hooking up at first, and then I don't know when she told me this. Was this when we were trying to be serious or not? I don't know the timeline.
Because I always feel like friends with benefits are more honest.
She was brutal though. She was fucking straightforward as shit.
Word.
So when she said that, I was kind of like, yo, that kind of hurts a little bit.
That made me cry a little bit.
I was like, okay, hold on a second. I didn't make you cry. But when she told me that was when I started to realize how important communication was. When I had to figure out what made her tick. And then, obviously that figuring out process was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm like, okay, well, she likes this, she likes that. I'm like, man, sex is exhausting. I was like, this shit is exhausting. When you care about somebody and you want them to be satisfied, you really do have to be mindful of.
It's so tailored.
It's very tailored. That motherfucker like a suit, baby.
Not just with girls, same with guys. Everything that makes a guy go off is different for the next guy.
Guys are a lot easier than women, though. Guys are a lot easier than women.
It is because they will still come at the end of the day. But things that certain guys like, the other guy might not like.
Yeah, I think that's just with anything. But I genuinely believe though guys aren't as particular, right? If they think a girl's fucking bad as fuck, they getting pussy, they're like, shit, it was tight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But a girl, if she thinks this guy's super cute and his dick game's weak, it's like, yo, that dude's cute, but his dick game's fucking weak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So girls are definitely a little more specific about that type of stuff. Because a guy too, like for example, majority of the times I've had a hand job, hated it.
Yeah.
Because you'll never stroke a dick like I know how to stroke my own dick.
Right.
So that more in conjunction with the blowjob feels really great. But if it's just a hand job, it's like you're not really.
You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I know my dick better than you do.
I'll do it. Let go. Let go.
With my first boyfriend ever, this was senior year of senior year of high school, going into freshman year of college. That was the most open and honest relationship I've ever had. But we were really young and just so fucking comfortable with each other. So we talked about this very openly. But he would literally teach me like how to hold it, what felt the best, and just try to like imitate the way he would do it. So I was like, oh.
He goes, this is how I hold a dick.
Yeah.
Like, babe, that sounds really weird. It's like when you hold a dick.
I was just so open and willing to learn though. But I've never had that level of communication with anyone after him.
Yeah. Well, because I think hand jobs too are so different because even like with the girl and when they come, hand jobs are different because the pressure is different.
Yeah.
Like depends. Like
pressure, speed, everything.
Depending on who that girl was with before, she tailored it to that guy. So if that guy, like if I was, when I hooked up with the girl, right, and she would give, sometimes they would grab that shit like she was, like there was $1,000 bill inside my dick and she was trying to squeeze it out. Like, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm trying to get rich, bitch.
I'm like, yo, what the fuck? But because the guy before liked it really tight, fucking firm and tight, and then some of the girls would just barely hold it, and it's just like, what are you doing? I barely feel this shit. Like, don't even do it. Right?
I feel like if I ever got into the game again, I would be a lost cause. It's been so long for me. Shit is dry out here.
It's COVID, bitch. What are you talking about?
I know. The nipple guy was the last time.
But
it's back in January.
He's super happy. He's like, that's right. The last dick you got
actually,
was
February.
Me.
Yeah. That was the last time you got some dick.
But it's COVID though, so
yeah.
It's different situations.
Yeah.
You don't know what's gonna happen.
I probably sound like a slut to everybody, but I'm really.
I don't think you sound like a slut. A lot of people too.
I am more experienced than my girlfriends though. To be fair.
You know what I found out though? A lot of these girls too who would talk about how many times, and I think this is a general truth. I think the girls that I know has actually had more sexual partners than the guys that I know. Because girls are a little more demure and they don't talk about it as much until you become really close. I'm like, bitch, your number is high.
What do you consider high?
I'm a good Christian boy.
Okay.
But it depends on your age. So if you're 30 and your number's like, I don't know, like 15 to 20, I'm like, whatever. Because you're 30 years old. You've been around a lot longer. If you're fucking 16 and your number's like 20 or 30, I'm like, yo, slow it down a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know. It depends. I'm older now. So I'm 32. If somebody tells me they've had 20 or 25 partners, I'm like, 30 something years. That's like less than a partner per year. I don't know.
Does body count matter to most guys, you think?
Depends on who you are.
I feel like body count, low key, it matters to a lot of guys.
I don't I personally prefer a woman who has more experience, because I don't have to be there to teach them everything.
Right.
Somebody,
Me too.
Somebody
I'm
else
like
already did that, so
Yeah.
I don't have to have the. Some people think about it the opposite way, where they go, "Well, now I could tailor this person." I want to be
the teacher.
Yeah, so I can tailor this person.
I feel like most guys are like that. They want to be the one to explain and mansplain. Like, this is how it goes. Like, I want you to be less experienced so that I can show you the way. It's most guys with like ego issues.
Bitch, that shit is so much explanation. That shit's exhausting, man.
But they like to be the one to have more experience. It's just the principle of it.
Let me tell you something, guys. I don't know if you're one of these fucking dudes, and I know I've been drinking a little bit now. If you have to fuck somebody and they're older and they're a virgin, they haven't had any experience, that shit is exhausting.
That's weird.
A girl, I've been with a girl who was a virgin. Shit was exhausting. Not exhausting. It's not her fault, right?
Right.
But it was like, the sex just wasn't good.
Yeah, because she doesn't know what she's doing.
She's not comfortable with her body yet.
Right.
It's not even so much that she's not good at quote unquote sex. It's because she's not comfortable with herself. So I have to be emotionally available to allow her to be comfortable, where she can be a little more experimental, where she can do things that I like. And that process takes so fucking long. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
And so if you're that guy that's just like, oh, I was like to fuck a virgin. Let me tell you something here, bro. A pussy's a pussy, and a pussy bounces back like a rubber ball. It doesn't matter what the fuck goes inside.
Yeah.
That shit still stayed nice.
Yeah.
So it's this weird concept. Like, I heard about that though. Like, guys who like virgins.
It's a principle. It's the principle. It's not the tightness or anything. It's the principle. It's like, I want to be the first.
The first to what, bitch? You ain't Columbus?
She's not tainted. She's pure. She's innocent. I want to be the first, and that's like a lot of ego issue.
Fuck that, dude.
Yeah, I honestly, with guys though, for me personally, I want a guy with a fuck ton of like sexual history.
Okay, let's just not let's get do a little too far. I want a guy to fuck 99 bitches at least, at minimum.
No, I just want him to
1,000
come with experience. Just
bars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bars, bitch. No, but I just want him to have experience so that he just knows what he likes and knows what he's doing. That's it. That's really it.
I would just, the only thing that I would require, well, I'm with somebody now, but a requirement for me was I need that girl to be able to communicate. If you're not having a good time when we're hooking up, that's not on me, because you didn't tell me what you liked and what you disliked. So at that point, I'm just shooting in the dark. I'm only doing what the person liked before.
Yeah.
So if you're like, it was okay, cool, and you're not telling me what you liked or disliked, then that's on you. You're the reason why you didn't come. You didn't let me know.
Sometimes it's a little awkward to have that conversation though.
You gotta let me know.
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
If a girl tells me like, yo, like, okay, I like this and that, I'm like, cool, next round.
The open space for that conversation though needs to be created, I feel like.
For sure.
Yeah.
But that's the preference that I like. I like people who are a little more open. So if I ask, it's like, if we hook up a few times and it was good, but I'm like, hey, like what's some stuff that you would like me to do next time, or what do you want to try out?
Yeah.
If I say that and you go nothing, but then later on you're like, I didn't like it. It's
honestly like, I would love if more guys asked me that.
It's easy, guys. It makes it more fun for both of you.
You'd be surprised at how many guys don't even initiate that conversation.
It's an ego thing.
Yeah, they think they know the best. They think they're hitting it the best. They think they're doing a great job. So they don't bother asking.
Let me tell you something. Pussy made me nervous.
Everyone watching and listening, ask your girl, am I doing a good job?
Number one, it makes sex way better.
100%.
It makes communication better. And by the way, too, I think a lot of guys are intimidated by pussy. I was super intimidated by pussy. And I based off what I thought women would like based on what guys would say to me. And I'm like,
fuck that shit. Well, everything your boyfriends, or for me.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not your
friends
guy friends.
Boys.
Yeah, your boys. Everything your boys are saying, so fucking skewed. It's you got to take it with many grains of salt.
Yeah.
Because it's just their ego talking most of the time. It's like, oh yeah, I hit that shit good. Like she was moaning like a motherfucker. Like she was wild, whatever. But from a girl's perspective, that could have all been an act.
Dude, man, I feel so sorry for my very first girlfriend. She probably had the worst dick in her life because I didn't know what I was doing. And she also wasn't somebody that would ever communicate what she liked.
Yeah.
So we were just having terrible sex the whole time. Terrible everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. But
you were also young.
I was super young, and I was 18.
Yeah,
and
when you're that young, no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah, sometimes it's just like if I was single, I was like, I want to run it back. Like, bitch, let's run it back. I've learned so much. I could do better.
Yeah.
And she could do better too. Like, honestly, when I look back at the sex that I had when I was 18 years old, it's probably the worst sex I've ever had in my life, and it's definitely the worst sex she's ever had.
It's probably like jackrabbit sex. Just
it
like,
is.
Boom, 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 boom.
It really is. It's all that. Rarely. I mean, there was foreplay and stuff like that, but I'm not really. You're not really thinking while you're doing it. You're just seeing red because you're like, oh, this is a vagina.
I'm horny.
And I'm horny and I need to have sex.
I hate the word horny. It's so gross.
Horny.
What about aroused?
Okay. When you saw this bitch, she said,
ASMR.
Aroused. Aroused is...
It's more civil.
It's very civil. Nobody wants to say that shit though. It's like,
yeah, no one says I'm aroused, but no one says I'm horny, or guys say I'm horny.
What's better than horny? Because I feel like horny and aroused are in two separate sections. What's the one in the middle?
I have no fucking idea.
Trying to fuck?
You want to fuck or what?
Let's fuck. Have you ever had a guy say that to you before?
No.
Like,
if they would be slapped.
Well, I'm saying like if you're having a good time and you're feeling it.
No, never. I think I set that standard in the beginning. It's like, I'm not that kind of girl.
I'm not that kind of girl. Let's fuck later, though.
You have my number.
You have my number. Hit me up later, though. I got to make sure everybody knows I'm not that girl.
There's been a lot of times where I've been booty called and I just straight up ghost them. It's like, I'm not that kind of person, so fuck out of here.
How dare you booty call me? You have not showed me your nipples yet.
No, but if they booty call me, I take it as a sign of disrespect, and I immediately just cut them off.
You know what I've noticed too? A lot of young like Asian girls who were either grew up hyper religious or very sheltered, they are the ones that aren't very communicative about sex. Like they're
shy.
They're super shy. And it's because they've been told that, sex is bad. You shouldn't do this, blah, 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 blah.
They're shamed for it. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in church too. And I was even fucking a youth group president. And I had my whole purity ring and everything. And granted, I lost my virginity.
I've never met a girl who had a purity ring that still had it and they actually did it to the T. These bitches.
Fuck that shit. Yo, my 7th grade health teacher was teaching us about sex. And I was like, excuse me, I have a purity ring. I'm never going to have sex until I'm married. And he's like, we'll see what happens. And I was like, whoa, that was fucking rude. But then years later, I'm like, I know what he's talking about now.
100%.
That shit's in the dumpster now.
Tell you, I got so many fucking funny church stories. I can't even count. I could do like 30 podcasts just about funny church stories. I remember this one girl who was a church leader, right? I'm talking about her view of sex was so skewed. She was talking about she was still a virgin, right? This is 2 separate stories, 2 different church people, right? I'll talk about the first one.
Oh, God.
This girl...
Why am I about to cringe?
Very rough around the corners and stuff. And she was like super adamant about, Christ's love and everything else, which is dope. I appreciate that shit. Your boy's still here, technically still a Christian. So she would talk about sex. And I remember one of the dudes was like, you never hooked up or anything? And she's like, no, I'm not going to have sex till marriage. But this motherfucker knew the guy that she was fucking around with, right?
Ew!
And he was like, nothing. He's like, you never had sex. And she was like, no, I would never die. Like I have what's the word I'm looking for? I have an image to uphold. And he goes, you sucked my boy's dick yesterday. She goes, is that sex? I'm like, bitch.
Oh my fucking
by
God.
A technicality, you over fucking deep throating dick. He goes like, you fucking sucked his dick yesterday in his car and just roast her ass in front of us, right? And it's like 3 or 4 people work really close, right? She goes, that's not fucking sex. She goes, that's not sex. Like, you're just on this weird moral high horse now. Like if you're sucking dick, you might as well just be fucking at this point.
You're creating boundaries to make yourself feel better, but
exactly,
it's the same shit.
And he was like getting on her. He was like, you're saying like he hasn't fingered you or anything?
Yeah, I would have been on her ass too. I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up.
I was like, come on, yo, you want to hear the worst one though?
Oh, God.
So there was another person that was a church leader, right? And this is after she was engaged, right? And she was talking about how, some of the people I met are kind of raw. And she was talking about like, yeah, like, I'm so glad we're going to get married, blah, blah, blah. And, I haven't had sex, so I saved myself. And dog, we got her ass because we know the guy that she was dating before. We're like, dog, you were fucking, right? She goes, no. I was like,
Yeah.
You guys were fucking. What are you talking about? She goes, he didn't come inside me, so it's not sex.
Oh, Lord Jesus Christmas.
What the fuck are you talking about? That's what I'm saying.
Dumb.
These purity little chastity shit, it's like people will find their way around having sex. And they're trying to rationalize it by finding these fucking loopholes. It's like the whole thing where it's like, if it was like, we're just gonna, what's the word I'm looking for? What's it? It's not is it just an inch or some shit like that, right? Where it's just a tip. They go, just a tip. Just a tip. It's not sex.
No.
Just the tip is fucking sex at that point.
That's sex. If it's in, it's in.
It's in.
Doesn't matter how much.
The fucking thing when she said he didn't come inside me, so it's not sex, made me want to kill myself at that point.
If the dick went anywhere near your mouth or hole, it's in.
You're basically done.
Yeah.
That is what it is.
You are not a virgin.
You're not. That relationship.
And that's okay. That's okay.
For sure. And the relationship with sex, I think in the religious sense too, it's like either you're 100% or you're not.
Yeah. There's no in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of girls too, I think they feel really uncomfortable, especially the ones that I knew that grew up hyper religious. They have this very uncomfortable relationship with their body and sex, especially when it comes to their own sexuality, like how they communicate with sex, how open they are. They lie about like how many people they hooked up with because there's that shame that's attached to it. And I always thought it was odd, and it's very detrimental for your sexual partner because you're not going to be open up with them, and you have to be because after a while too, when you're having sex with somebody for a long period of time, you're going to have to switch things up. And if you're not being communicative about it, then it just sucks. It sucks. And what I found out too from being in long-term relationships too is like in the beginning, like you're always like hooking up like rabbits. That's how it is. And then when you start being comfortable with somebody, and I'm not saying this is how it is for everybody.
It's the same thing every time.
Yeah. Like for me, I started to realize is like, oh, I don't really need to have sex that much. I think when at first you're just fucking like rabbits because it's so brand new. But after a while, it's just, I almost feel a fulfillment just being around the person, having that person there. And I don't feel like I need to be more connected by having sex. So when we do have sex, it feels really, really good. So I don't need to justify our passion by sex. We justify it in different ways. Like we just being around the person. I'm like, oh, this took a while to get to, and this is really fucking nice. Like I like the fact that I could just be next to you and not have my dick hard all the time. It's like, I can think straight. Like this is great. We could have conversations, and every time we're in bed next to each other, I don't want to always have sex. Right. Which is dope. It's not because I'm not physically attracted. It's not because I don't want to have sex. It's now that I think it's more of a security thing. I feel very secure with this person. It's like,
and you're stimulated in different ways.
100%. Yeah. And it takes a while to get to that point.
I can't relate because I've never been at that point.
I know you ain't at that point yet, but it's a different fucking feeling. And I at first when I remember when I had that feeling, especially like with Mariel, and I started feeling that, I'm like, oh, I think I really like her a lot. It's like I don't need to justify the passion in our relationship through this very specific physical thing. And now it's like when we're in the mood, we're in the mood. And if we're not, we don't have to force things. We don't have to pretend like we have to do this. It's just like, oh, this is nice. Like I remember when we talked about it, we're like, yeah, it's like, it's almost like the sexual part is even better now because now we're being more selective about it, which is kind of interesting. I'm like, oh, I'm a grown up. Oh, because before her, I've only been, the relationships that I had were very short, super short. So when we were meeting, we were fucking, because we're together for what, 2 months? Yeah. 3 months?
Oh, that's fucking period.
Yeah, that's always fucking all the time. Yeah. And then if it was a long distance relationship, it's like the moment you're here, we're fucking morning, day, and night. And then we see each other for 3 days. That's all we do. We go out to eat, we come back, we fuck. And then after that, they're back on a plane somewhere else. So those moments of happiness were very temporary. So I wonder how other people feel about that though.
Yeah, sex is, I feel like it's so different for everybody though. Yeah. It's very, I feel like also relationships, not that I've been in a long-term one, but especially in long-term ones, you have to go through highs and lows to figure out what works. But that's,
for sure.
I feel like that's what I'm observing from all the long-term relationships that I know.
And sometimes too, like I've talked to other friends who've been in relationships longer before like even my personal relationships, when I got to the 6-year point, the 5-year point, they told me like, yo, we've been together for 10 years and we got to mix shit up. Like we got to do some fucking weird shit sometimes because we've been fucking each other for fucking 14 years. Never hooked up with anybody else. So now we got to be a little more creative, like role playing and shit and doing all this weird shit. And I'm like, hey, you got to figure out what works for you. If you need that type of stuff, you have to. And she goes, yeah, like I've been having sex with the same person, same moves, same everything. And it's not like the sex is bad. It's just more like, I got to switch it up. It's like, like steak is great. Like I could have steak for the rest of my life.
You're sensitized.
Yeah. I could have steak for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But sometimes I want steak with a little foie gras butter on it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I like it medium rare. Sometimes I like it medium. So we got to switch it up a little bit. Yeah.
Do you think human beings are meant to fuck the same person for the rest of their lives?
I don't think so. I
don't think so either. I think animalistically, people are meant to fuck multiple people. But again, I'm not a polygamist or like anyone who's even open to an open relationship. So it's a little bit weird for me to say that. But from a very primal perspective, I feel like people are not meant to.
Some people like the new experience and kind of the explorative thing about their sexuality, in my opinion, and from what I've heard from other people, versus finding what's really good for you, right? So for me, when it comes to sexual things, I prefer to have somebody that knows what I like and knows what I dislike. Yeah. Because for other people, it might be like, oh, this is the same thing. But it's like, yo, this took a while for us to figure out. Right. And I don't want to have to go through this with somebody else. It shit sucks, man. Especially when I went from one relationship, we're hooking up and we finally figure out a good flow. And then we go to the next and then I have to go through it again. It's
from
like
scratch.
I was like, fuck, man. It's like you're grabbing my dick too hard. You know what I mean? Or then I'm like thrusting too hard, or I'm not hitting it right at the right angle, or she doesn't like doggy style, she doesn't like missionary.
Yeah, every girl's favorite position is different.
Yeah. What's a sexual thing that is a must for you and a must not?
You must be dominant.
Okay, of course.
Alpha. Yeah. I kind of like it softly rough. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
You just want to feel like that person's in control. Yeah. But they're not over here socking you in the eye and shit.
Oh, no. Definitely. Yeah. No, like BDSM type of shit. But like just in control, taking lead. For me. As I like in my relationships.
For me, a must know is I will never have anal sex.
I've never done anal.
I don't like it.
I'm just like,
I tried it a little bit once and I hated it.
Oh, really?
It wasn't my idea. No, that's a lie. It was both of our ideas. And I was curious. And you know, like I you know what? Actually, I don't know. Was it my idea? I think we kind of got caught up in the moment because I never wanted to put something in the butt.
Yeah, because the idea of it.
Because poopy comes out of there. Yeah. So the idea that shit comes out of there. Listen, I'm okay with like, let's say we're fucking around and they want me to like wring the outside of her ass with the finger or something like that. That's okay. Yeah. Sticking my dick all the way in there. And by the way, too, I found this out from a gay dude. Anal sex too is a process. You don't just stick your fucking dick in there.
You have to warm it up.
You actually have to douche it out. You have to clean it out, or if you don't, shit will get on your dick.
Oh fuck.
It's a whole process. And so like this gay dude's like, you know, straight people are so fucking funny. He goes, you think that you just start fucking somebody in the ass and it's clean like in porn? It's like, no, we gotta eat clean like the next day before. And then on top of that, we gotta douche it out, clean it out. Because if not, you're gonna have shit all over the place. Like you don't just start fucking somebody in the ass.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I learned that shit. And the funny thing, my buddy Joe, he tells a story where he had sex with this girl and she loved anal shit and he fucked her in the ass. And then when he pulled his dick out, a piece of fucking dookie was at the end of his dick and it almost made him throw up.
Oh fucking God, no. Oh my God.
Yeah, because if you have a decent sized dick, it's going in like...
Holy shit.
It's going in quite a few inches.
Yeah, I've never done anal. I don't plan on doing anal. Maybe if it's with my husband. Sure. If you want
guys have to figure that shit out. Yeah, but I mean, it depends on what you're comfortable with if you want to make him happy. But
my
anal stuff,
ex wants to do anal and I was just like, yeah, nope. Next.
Yeah, I don't like anal. I don't want it to happen to me. I don't want to do it to her. Yeah. It's just because poop comes out of there. Like I said, I don't mind.
Yeah, that's my mentality too. It's like, why the fuck would you want to stick your dick in that hole?
Yeah. Like I said, I don't mind like fingering it or something like that. Yeah. That's okay with me because it's the outer edge. But going all the way into the guts, I'm good.
In the intestinal linings.
I am good. I don't want to deal with that.
Jeez.
It's because of those horror stories. Like, imagine sticking your dick inside of an ass and all of a sudden a fucking piece of shit comes out at the tip of your dick. Yeah, that's my must never. I just don't, I'm not okay with
sexual must never.
Yeah, and it sucks too. Like, it's like from somebody, they're like, well, I need this. Then we're definitely going to have to go through some sex therapy for that because that's a hill that I have to kind of climb. Because it's not going to be easy for me.
A definite no for me, or something that turns me off, is when a guy has no rhythm.
Oh, and like just.
It's just like it's just very quick and like not controlled and just like very primal and it's like monkey like. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like that's gross. I'm sorry, but take a chill pill. Go with the flow. Go with the rhythm.
You like that fucking R&B sex.
Oh, I do.
You like that R&B sex.
No, but one of the things I look out for in someone I date is how well they can dance. Because it translates to the bed.
He can't dance, we're not fucking.
If he can't dance, I'm sorry, but it kind of like it forces me to envision how you would be like in bed.
I don't like having sex like just smashing because it makes you come too fast.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work. It's very exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like guys who want to fuck like that, I think there's moments where that can happen, right? It's like when you're fucking with somebody, when you're fucking and then there's this moment where it becomes super intense and then they want it hard and fast, but then you can't do that from beginning to end.
You cannot.
It's number one,
hurts.
it's exhausting. It's going to hurt. And then on top of that too, you got to switch it up a little bit. You can't just start fucking like a rabbit from the beginning.
Yep.
Which when I was 18, definitely did that. Mm-hmm. And it was that weird thing of like, I'm just trying to come.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not thinking about my partner at that point. And then later on, I figured out, oh, there's a rhythm to this shit. There's foreplay, which is very important for some girls. Like for me, foreplay is actually
almost all girls.
Yeah, foreplay is actually important for me too. Like if I got to go straight to fucking, it almost makes me feel like maybe because I'm an emotional guy, it makes me feel like I might as well just jack off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I might as well just jack off.
It's just like sort of like get to the point, and which is like not a sexy mindset to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know some dudes that don't even like, they don't like kissing when they have sex.
That's so weird to me.
Yeah, some people don't. Well, if you're hooking up, I understand.
If it's just a hookup relationship.
But if you're
fine.
with somebody, I think the kissing part is like the intimacy that I enjoy.
Right.
But if it was somebody that it was like I was hooking up with, we don't need a kiss.
Yeah.
It's a little too personal.
Right.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know people who are with their partners and they just don't like
to kiss.
Kiss when they
That's
sex.
So
they just like to. They'll do everything but kissing.
That's so like unfamiliar.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It seems a little
distant.
Very distant.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't like that shit. I don't like that at all.
Me neither.
Okay, that's my must-have. We gotta, if we're having intimate sex, we need a kiss.
Yeah. Okay. What else is another must-have?
Must-haves for me. Different positions. We can't just always fuck missionary. We can't always. Yeah, if there's one position, absolutely not. Like when we have sex, in that period that we're having sex, we need to flip it up. 2-3 different times.
100%. Yeah, you can't just do one position.
Yeah.
No way.
And then another must-have is, I think for every guy, they need to have blowjobs. Like that part is hard for me. I didn't realize how important it was for me because for me, blowjobs are a part of foreplay. So it's like,
I feel like it's a part of both.
For what? What do you mean?
Foreplay and like during.
Oh, for sure. But like for me, that's important because it just switches it up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's like having like I also enjoy like hand jobs too, but I need it to be switched up. Like we can't like the only form of like copulation can't just be straight sex, like penis into vagina. So if a girl just doesn't like, she's like, I'll never do blowjobs. It's like, well, we cannot be together.
Girl, you gotta.
You gotta.
You gotta.
You have to.
You really do.
I think it's important. There's like I'm saying, like some girls that I know that were the church girls are like, oh, I don't do blowjobs.
It's so foul.
Yeah, it's so foul. It's so gross. I'm like, good luck, bitch.
Yeah.
Like good fucking luck.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly enjoy giving head because it turns
you on for the way the guys feel, right?
It gives me pleasure to give the guy pleasure.
Yeah.
So I will voluntarily go down.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of girls are like that too. It's not I think that's the thing that those girls who say that they don't understand that concept. It's like, yo, this is a turn on because I know that I can turn my man on just by doing this one thing, and it kind of gets it going. That's what I'm saying. It's a part of foreplay. It's. Yeah, you're not really getting the sensation of sex, but you're getting the sensation of knowing that you're really controlling this guy. Like you're making him turn on.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about it.
Yeah.
I don't agree with guys who want a blowjob but won't go down on a girl though.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
I think that is the most.
Fuck that shit.
Have you ever been with somebody who wouldn't do that?
No. Actually, once.
They were just like, no?
well, I never really asked, but it was just like I could tell it was someone I was only hooking up with, but I could tell there was such an imbalance between the times I would go down versus how many times he would go down. I'm just like very selfish.
Very selfish.
Very selfish. You have no manners. Fuck you. But I mean, it wasn't a deal breaker either because again, it was just a hookup for me at that time.
Oh, because it's not important.
So I was just like, whatever, fuck this dude. I don't really care.
Yeah. Would you tell the guy that you would want for him to go down?
No, because he wasn't important enough. So I could just cut him out.
Oh, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder if like do guys really do go down on a girl when it's just a casual hookup all the time? I feel like that's more of a. I feel like most guys would do it after. Like you guys hook up maybe a couple times and then it's like, oh, okay, I'm comfortable enough where this might happen.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like it just depends on the guy. It depends on the guy. If a guy's more willing, because some guys are like, like me, it gives me pleasure to give the girl pleasure. So some guys are just willing. And from the first time, they're just willing. Yeah. So I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah. But other guys like literally are just like, fuck this. I'm just trying to get off on my own. It's really dependent on the guy. It's really dependent on the guy.
Oh, sex is just an odd thing, man.
It's so personal. It's very tailored to each individual.
I think it's important for any young person to kind of hear that too, because you think that you're supposed to get it right the first time.
There's no formula.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna generally either feel good, right, if that's what you like, but later on, just like anything else, it's when you start to understand the nuances to sex is when you start to really tailor it to yourself, and it starts to feel different. Then when you have your no's, you have your yeses, you have your have-nots and your have yeses or whatever, whatnot. Like it's then it starts to become something else. I'm like, oh, this can be really fun.
Yeah, it's crazy because you just need. I can't be a hoe, go out and sleep with everybody, because I mean that's also kind of dangerous to encourage to people, I feel like. But at the same time, you just need experience to learn what you like and don't like.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who believe the other way too, where they're like, well, I want to create a lasting bond with somebody, so I'm going to save myself. True. It's like, you could save yourself. I think that's perfectly fine. Yeah. I just think that from what I've seen is, I have hooked up with girls who haven't had a sexual partner, and it was not the best for me. You know, it was hard. Emotionally, it was hard on them. Yeah. And like I said, it had to do with them being comfortable enough to be comfortable with me, to finally let me know what they liked and disliked. And going up that hill was treacherous. It's like, oh God, did I have to go through this again? Like I already went through this when I was younger. Then I have to do it again and again. Rather than hooking up with somebody and was like, okay, next time can you try this? I'm like, psh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah. Because now I'm not guessing in the dark. It makes me comfortable. Right. You know?
Yeah. Because now we can actually enjoy ourselves openly. Yeah.
She's like, dominate me. Punch me in my fucking lips, and then I want to wake up tomorrow.
Oh, no. I don't want to be abused.
So you don't like stuff like slapping or choking and stuff like that?
I like choking. I don't really like slapping, though. Maybe on the ass.
Well, I'm not talking about in the face, but like...
No, some girls love getting slapped in the face, which is weird to me because it's a little bit hardcore for me, but...
Punch me in my stomach now. Give me the 1, 2, 3. Give me the hook.
Give me the hook. Yeah. Let's do what we practice.
You just tell your numbers. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Body, hook, slip, roll. Punch me in the face.
Hook, bitch. Oh, fuck. That'd be weird. Yeah. What would you do if a girl was like, fucking left hook the shit out of me?
I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. It's kinky.
I was taught not to hit a woman, but if a girl wants to be slapped, fine. Punch, no. Like if a girl wants to be, I mean, we would have to be really committed in order for her to say that to me. But if we're hooking up and she's like, I want you to sock me in my face,
because she could say anything after that point.
Yeah, I can't do that shit though. But I don't mind like physical shit. If a girl wants to be slapped, choked, or whatever, I'm okay with that shit. It's just a lot of work. It's exhausting.
It's exhausting being mean.
No, I've been with a girl who's so particular about her sex, like in terms of what she likes and dislikes. It was just too much. You know, like in the terms of having sex with her almost felt like a job.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
because
like, do this, do that. Don't do this.
Because she was the opposite of you. She had to come every time. And she knew her buttons and her toggles. And it's easy for a guy to come, right? She goes, well, when you come, like you do it every time. So I would like the same back. I'm like, I understand that when you say it verbally. But bitch, you got so many tricks and dingle dongles to you. It's exhausting for me.
Dangleberries to you.
All you have to do is suck my dick with your hand and your lips and I'll come. Bop! You know, depending on what I want, you know, like it could be fast. It could be either fucking 5 minutes or it could be 10, depending on how we want to do this shit. I was like, but for you, it's like, okay, let me just tell you the specifics that she wanted. She always had to start out with oral first. And after oral, I had to play with her clit. Right. And then she liked the majority of sex doggy. So I'm always doing all the work. And then I'm doing missionary. And then I have to finish her off by doing oral. And this is a whole like 20, 30 minutes experience.
That's a very selfish experience.
It's exhausting. Because she knows that, because she wants to come first, because she knows that after I come, I'm exhausted. So I always had to go first with her. And this shit, it didn't annoy me, but I just knew that having sex with her was going to be an ordeal.
Yeah, it's
like,
tiring.
I have to take a couple of Red Bulls.
Hey,
I have to know.
At least she knows what she likes.
Yeah, well, whoever you're with, good luck to him, because that shit is exhausting.
Word.
Yeah, I'm glad she communicated with me.
Yeah.
But the fact that she had to come every time.
It just wasn't for you.
Oh, was not for me. She has to be with somebody who really, really enjoys sex in that way of getting off by serving somebody completely.
Yeah.
Because it didn't feel very. I would come to, of course, but it just didn't feel very
fulfilling.
It was almost exhausting. It was almost like if I didn't do this task, I was not considered a good partner. And I'm like, okay, you're too much. It's like, I want you to burn wax on top of my forehead.
Oh, fuck
and I want you to put a stamp on top of it and then seal it like a bourbon whiskey bottle. Like, bitch, I'm not doing this.
Makers, bitch.
Makers. And say makers and then spit in my eye. Oh, I hated that.
Oh, no.
Well, everybody, that wraps up this episode of a very open Genius Brain podcast.
Yeah, I didn't know this was going to turn into a sex.
You led the conversation there, baby.
Shit, it might be the whiskey.
It must be the whiskey. This bitch had half my bottle of Suntory Hibiki.
Oh, shit.
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. This is for guests. Well, you could find Freesia at Freesia Park on Instagram. That's FREESIA Park. And you can find her also on YouTube.
Yeah. I do a little bit of vlogging here and there. Still experimenting with what works for me, but I'm posting actively, so subscribe.
Check her out. Well, we'll see you guys every Thursdays and Sundays. You don't know what you're going to get on a Genius Brain podcast, and we'll see you all next time.
Peace.